What is going on, family? Welcome back to the channel. We are here with more Open Window with me and, of course, Pan, as usual.
I'm Pan. They know me. They know
Bro,
me.
get out of here, bro. And today we will be talking about some delicious in dungeon, or, in Japanese, dungeon meshi.
Never call it
Uh,
Delicious in Dungeon ever again, bro. I'm beefing with that name. I don't know. It sounds so.
Why? It's
I don't
cool.
know, man. Dungeon Meshi. Okay, that's cleaner. Maybe because I don't know what Meshi is.
Lord knows. Probably,
Mm,
it probably means delicious.
It better
Shit, I
not
don't know.
be.
I don't know why you're hating. But this show came out winter 2024. So this last season, of course, we're moving into spring 2024,
Hmm.
and it is a very slept on show. I think it's a two core as well. So I think it's gonna be going into spring 2024. And I won't say slept on too much. It is like we go on my anime list right now. It's in the second row. But like we don't really hear not a lot of people talking about it. Of course, right now everyone's just watching Solo Leveling, maybe some Mashal. Shout out to Pan, not shout out to Pan, shout out to Paz. Maybe some Classroom of the Elite as well. But let's just Delicious in Dungeon Meshi, whatever you want to call it, doesn't get a lot of love. And we wanted to make this video today, kind of like talking about our initial thoughts, talking about the synopsis, how the story progresses, not giving too much spoilers away. It's only 13 episodes right now out of 25. You can watch it on Netflix and things like that as well. And just kind of going into some initial thoughts about it. It kind of gives me like the same vibes as a Bunny Girl no Senpai, in the sense of like, due to the name or due to like the title they show you in my anime list, you can't really get a grasp of how deep the show is going to be. So on the surface, you see like it has gourmet in the title, it has comedy, fantasy. You're thinking maybe it's going to be like a more of a fantasy Food Wars type of vibe, where they're just going to be cooking some good food. Maybe it has some lighthearted comedy and things like that. That's it, very surface level. And it kind of does start off like that initially, but as the story progresses, it gets a lot more deeper, a lot more character progression, a lot more darker undertones as well. Like
Hmm.
comparing it to where we are right now, only on episode 13 to where we started, when it was like it's just night and day, literally night and day. So if you're going into it, don't be like, I guess not to say like don't be like us, but like you're in for a wild ride, basically. Like you don't think you're gonna go in there and just, it's gonna be some comedy. Like they're gonna have like maybe like very lackluster visuals, maybe what I'm saying, like the dialogue won't be too crazy. Like no, they really get in there, and like as we just with each episode, the story more unfolds, and you get more of just like, damn, like there's a lot more deeper to this show than what it gives off initially.
Now that I think about it, we talked about this show specifically, right? And it was like you explained. I remember us just assuming this show could be interesting or maybe slept on. To be honest, I've never seen, now that you just mention it, this gourmet genre. I didn't even know this is a genre. I guess it is.
Yeah,
We went into this not expecting too much. It just reminded us a little bit of what's it called, Ranking of Kings, right? Just
yeah.
art style wise. But I mean, it couldn't be more different, I guess. This is, yeah, pretty interesting. If you're into this kind of dungeon mystery, also, but also lighthearted comedy here and there, check it out. We can talk about characters first, I guess. Character story. I mean, Jazz, you can just straight up. I'll just ask you, okay, who's your favorite character? And then we can go from
Favorite
there.
character so far. Of course, the show focused more on like the main cast of the four. There has been some supporting characters in some episodes, but it's mainly been the initial cast of Laios, Marcel, Senshi, and Chocha. Of course, Marcel being the elf. I think there a lot of people were not comparing her, but like for at least for this last season, it was like her, and of course, shout out to Furin. They're
Hmm.
like, these elf girls are saving our season. They ain't shit to watch, and I definitely resonate with that. Lyles is, of course, the human. Senshi, I think he's a dwarf, I think,
Yeah, yeah.
or something like that. And then Chilchuck, I think he's like a half something. I don't know. I think I like Senshi a lot. I just like his comedy. I like when he finally took a shower and like he looked all like fluffy and shit. I think that was pretty funny. He's pretty cool too. He stands his ground. He's cool with like just being different for the rest of them. Like the rest of them are like okay with magic and doing things a certain way. But he's like, I live off this dungeon stuff. I've been doing this for a while now.
Yeah.
Like y'all kind of have to follow me a little bit. Yeah, I find him pretty interesting. Honestly, he's definitely one of my favorite characters. How about you?
I asked you this question, even though I can't really answer it myself. If I were to go with one specific character that, for at least for now, I like the most, it would probably be Marcel or Laios, just because
Okay.
they are really the ones where the comedy often comes from. And for both, I feel like there's a lot of character development still in store. We haven't seen everything of them. And as you said, yeah, Marcel stood out as an elf with Frieren at the same, which was pretty funny. I've seen some edits here and there. But overall, now looking at the cast, right, just the main four, it's pretty good that every character is very distinct from one another, but also not too much, so they still have things in common. And I feel like this really helps produce, I guess, or make a good comedic dynamic. I think we talked about it for a little while during our last video about Konosuba. Like, you have the cast of four people, everyone is very distinct, and then they come together and it just gets funny. And this is the exact case here. Laios is, I don't even know what he is, okay? He's just all over the place sometimes. He needs to save his sister, but at the same time, he just wants to enjoy some good food. He needs Marcel to really keep him in line, okay? Tell him, yeah, we still have this one goal. We need to continue on. Same with Chilchuk, but also he's, I guess, more accepting of the food, but scared of other things. And I just said Senshi. Senshi is, I mean, I guess whatever. He's just chilling basically. But also, I mean, as you go on, all of them have their fears, their strengths, their interests, and all of this comes together to make this whole relationship feel very organic. You know, it doesn't feel forced. Okay, it doesn't feel like one of them could disappear and everything would stay the same. So character-wise, very strong. I feel like also the dialogue is just very effective, no stupid shit. If we talk about the story now, I mean, initially it was pretty funny thinking about it. His sister Fallon was eaten by the dragon, and all they do at first, at least, is just fuck around and chill, eat
Bro,
the monsters on every level.
You definitely forget like how you were saying like how it's good that at least they have like Marcel kind of keeping them on track, because like there's times where like they're just like, because it's kind you can kind of relate it to Frieren in that way where like both of the shows have like an overarching story that they're trying to get to, at least more or less, but they have like a lot of like side episodes and just like little like I guess you can call it filler moments if you want to say that, but like where they're just doing complete just different, just random stuff for no reason. Well, not for no reason, but just doing random stuff. And it's like, bro, like you have to go like, you know, we're still working towards something. Like, she's being digested as we speak, and they're over here like having fun and like fighting different things and getting lost. And I don't know, it's definitely pretty crazy. But it's cool how the story, like even with all that stuff, everything connects as well. Like even like in this most recent episode, came out today in episode 13. I was watching a little bit before we came on here. Even like just in the first half of the episode, like I think like 2 or 3 things happened that tied back already to things that happened in the previous episodes, even though it might seem pretty small. Even like stuff like for Laios' sword, he has like that little like monster inside of it. Even now, like every time it pops up and it kind of shows like when they're in danger and things like that, is a pretty cool, like I guess, gimmick.
Yeah, builds up on past things, exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, one of the best things there, I feel like, that the show at least, you know, committed to it, is to have Fallon, I mean, we're in the spoiler territory, right? I don't give a fuck, was actually dead. Okay, just a skeleton with some flesh, whatever, like meat, whatever it was, inside the dragon, because they just took too much time. Like they just fucked around, came back, really expected. Like Laios was really thinking, yeah, we're gonna find her in there. Still alive. No, you won't. I mean, crazy. And on the other hand, could they have been faster? Maybe, but not by a long shot. I feel like they still need to prepare food to survive. But then, of course, also they were on some like 5-star restaurant type of meals. So maybe they didn't need to go that far, okay? Just make something real quick and continue on. But no, they really sat down, were chilling, eating on some food, on some, what's the anime called? Food Wars? Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, no. But basically, story-wise, as you said, and this is, like, funny enough, once again, Frieren comes in, as you said, you have this overarching goal. And I feel like people who don't like these shows, because, you know, there are people who hate the show Frieren or hate Dungeon Meshi, I got a feeling that if you look for a show where this overarching goal is the main focus, I can't even think anything off the top of my head, okay? I would say if you like something like One Piece, right? Because One Piece has its overarching goal, but the best thing about One Piece is going from island to island, these side adventures. You could call them filler, technically, right? You could call a lot of arcs in One Piece filler, but they're not, okay? It's about the adventure. It's about really being with the group doing some shit. And Dungeon Meshi is exactly that. Other shows are more streamlined. Maybe something like Attack on Titan, more so, right? They have their goal each season and they pursue it. There is no side adventures going on. Maybe there is like in season 1 or so, something small. But usually each season has one goal, they pursue it and they get to it. If you like these shows, then you probably, or I mean, if you want something out of the show that is like Attack on Titan, you won't find it here. It's just really what type of preference you have in terms of storytelling, right? In terms of plot progression. Since we're already at progression, I accidentally stumbled into that area. What do you think about the pacing? Because I feel like every episode, sometimes it was like a 2-episode thing, like self-contained little stories. I feel like they're each episode had like I didn't feel like anything was rushed, except for maybe one thing with the Kelpie part, like the water horse, if you remember. Right, because Senshi had like this connection to the horse, and then it was over fairly quickly. Maybe that part could have been more fleshed out, but everything else felt pretty well paced, right? Like there were there moments where you would say this was boring. I wish this went over quicker. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean the 2-part episodes for sure. A lot of anime do those. I don't know if it's like a nowadays thing or like they've been doing it for a while now. But I think they're probably just trying to like take specific chapters and like probably like maybe put 2-3 chapters in one episode. The pacing has been pretty solid though. I mean towards the beginning it might have been a little bit slow, but I mean it's slow because it's exposition and trying to build out the characters, build out the relationships and how they have the dialogue and relate to each other. And then of course now it's like it's not like more fast paced in a sense where like there's kind of jumping from point to point, but like they are progressing the story along. They're not like wasting any more time or not wasting any minutes or seconds of the episode. Like everything means something. And of course like maybe if like some of the side stories that they were doing to flesh out the characters, and then like maybe around like episode like 6, 7, I guess you could say like maybe it's a little bit slow, but like nothing was boring. Like I said before, everything connects to each other either, so maybe it's like even if it's like a couple of things from like a side story that happened, it still means something. It still fleshes out the character. It still shows how they can they better come to understand each other as a group, why they even choose to stick along together. Because at the end of the day, like when it comes to Marcio and Laios, they're the main ones that's really trying to get Fallon. Like Chilchuck and especially Senshi are just kind of like along for the ride in a sense. So at any given moment, they really could just be like, man, forget that. I'm out of here. But they still stick with them and want to ride with them. I feel like all those side stories and the pacing it's really good. It's been really, really strong. I'm hoping they continue to, still progress the story, but don't lose that like what makes them different, which is like having all those like little side stories and stuff to really flesh out the characters and stuff like that. But I know we're getting deeper into the really main story now, so maybe all that like kind of play really starts to stop now, right? This is gonna be just full throttle trying to see like the mysteries of the dungeon.
Could be, though. Also, I would hope that the show doesn't lose its original idea of focusing on the food, right? They can have a more focused story now, but I still want to see them regularly survive in the dungeon by being creative with the monsters and producing food, right? Just less fucking around, as you said.
Yeah.
Because if they really leave this, then it's another one of these shows where you have like this one main selling point and then it turns into something I guess basic. It's like Shield Hero. I always like to mention Shield Hero here. They have their interesting premise, and then after like 12 episodes, the premise is gone. He's just overpowered now. And then it's just a regular power fantasy isekai. But this show is already pretty unique, I would say. So I don't think we have to be scared of this happening.
Yeah.
I had to check real quick because I wanted to talk about animation visuals as well after you were done with your segment, and I just checked out the studio. I forgot that they also made Kill la Kill, right? They made Cyberpunk Edge Runners.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yes. So I don't know if we talked about during the prediction when we first saw the show, but this show has beautiful animation. Okay, it's always well drawn. I don't know who directs this. We can check the director. I don't mean like that. Some of these comedy moments don't feel like I have ever seen them in anime. I feel like episode 1 or 2 had this one scene with the complete no music, silent, just frame of Marcel looking at Laios like all goofy. Okay, and then some random zoom in. Like this was not on some anime. Like someone else that knew his shit was there to really direct this. Visually, like in general, this looks very beautiful, but animation, it reminded me of how Frieren does it. That small moments look beautiful, but then also these action moments, like especially episode 11, right? Or 12, like the fight against the dragon and those like the
Oh,
reincarnation part that Marceli, like the dark magic,
yeah, that was
super
crazy.
fluid, super beautiful, like out of nowhere, almost. And same with Freerun, right? Like you have suddenly a big fight happens and animation goes crazy. I just like the style, and you can't really say anything bad against this because I mean they know what they're doing. Okay, we see the track record. Even something like Little Witch Academia, even though it's not super highly regarded, I remember it having pretty good animation. If you have like Kill la Kill or what's called like Promare, like this one show that kind of feels like Gurren Lagann. I mean, maybe you have something more to add on this. Maybe
No, the
you hate it.
animation
Maybe you
is
hate the animation.
no, animation is really good, and it definitely is like a Freeman in that sense, where like they kind of save their budget or at least like more of their time and effort for those specific moments. And I think like when it comes to shows like this, where like a lot, no, at least like when it first starts, a lot of the beginning is them just kind of goofing around and just kind of getting to know each other and just have these like small little moments. So there's no need for anything crazy for animation wise. Like it makes more sense to save it for like the actual big fights and stuff like with the dragon, or even with when they're fighting that water spirit. Like that makes a lot more sense. Then I prefer it that way, instead of like maybe they're trying to make every single episode some masterpiece, and so they have to cut back on other stuff like putting CGI in there and things like that. It's definitely better for the things like this. Of course, like Studio Trigger and stuff like that is definitely a more well-known studio, so maybe they
Yes.
have a lot more money and like teams behind to kind of throw around. But regardless, like it doesn't knock away from the animation. Though I think it's gonna be win the animation of the year or something like that. No, but it's very strong and it's good for what's it like what this anime
Yeah.
portrays. It's kind of like how it was for Ranking of Kings as well. Like it was like unique to Ranking of Kings, and it just really fit the vibe, especially like that last fight when Boji fights his father. Like that was a amazing, like just like that was a spectacle for real. So hopefully, because that's how kind of the dragon fight felt, so hopefully we get more moments like that where like when we get to those big moments they really show out. And they've been doing it so far, so I don't see why they would stop. Even in episode 13, I was watching a little bit of it today. They had a little fight in there, and it was looking really really good, even for those like the little bit they were fighting. So it was cool. It was cool.
Yeah, the show overall, as said before, very efficient, very effective with what it's doing. Not just animation visuals, as I said before, okay, character dialogue, the pacing. You could call it filler, but I mean, it's not. If you know One Piece, you should know how this works. The studio is just not fucking around, and I'm interested to see where this goes. Okay, we wanted to end this video with like predictions or expectations on what could come. We haven't read the manga, just from episode 13. As I haven't watched 13 yet, Jazz has, so don't he won't spoil me. Hopefully, on big
Yeah.
parts. I just expect them to, there obviously needs to be a new overarching goal because the dragon Fallon part is over. Even from episode 1 onwards, okay? The dragon part, yes, but we also have this overarching goal, I guess, of going deeper into the dungeon and finding the person responsible for the dungeon. Maybe the show is going to end on that or go into that direction. Really, they are already deep into the dungeon. Will they go back up, or will they just go further down as much as they can? Okay, I'm just interested to see where this goes. I would be kind of sad if they went up for some reason and then back down, right? Because they came so far already. So maybe they should just go deeper and deeper and see how far they can get. But and as you said, okay, Crunchyroll Awards, I don't see it winning anything significant. Sadly, like it would probably be nominated for Best Fantasy, but Frieren is going to win this.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and animation, something else is going to win also, right? Even once again, you could say Frieren has better animation, and it probably has. But at least I just hope it will get like multiple nominations, okay? Just to have it up there with the big ones, I suppose. And maybe it can win like original anime, right? Maybe.
Yeah.
It could win original anime, or one of the voice actors, maybe. Who knows? But what do you think? I mean, you have watched episode 13. Don't spoil me, Daddy. Don't spoil me, please.
Oh hell no. Hopefully, like in terms of awards, hopefully it does at least get nominated for something.
Hmm.
Kind of like how I feel how we felt towards like Odd Taxi. I mean, Odd Taxi won some stuff, but like
Yes,
at
yes.
least like just so it gets more recognition. Watching episode 13, there's definitely a new overarching goal for sure. I mean, the one thing I will say is, cause I don't like we haven't read the manga, but all I like that's the one thing I do hear from manga readers is that like the story gets dark. Like that's the only
Yeah,
that's
I've
the
heard
thing
that
they
too.
keep repeating. Like it's very very dark and gruesome, and like that's another thing as well. I don't know if we talked about it too, just to touch on that a little bit. It's just like they're very gory in this show as well. Like
Hmm.
it's very like just I guess surprising because of how like nonchalant it is. Like it's nothing like crazy because like I guess in this world like it's normal to them. So when things are getting cut off like extremities and limbs and things like that, it's just normal for them. People are dying and they're reviving them and stuff. It's
I
just
mean,
like
yeah, they're
it's
used to
whatever.
it.
So it gets pretty gory at times too. So like I can definitely see like especially like with this episode, like I said, I won't spoil, but like there definitely is a
Yeah,
new overarching goal, and like this episode was very gory too,
like a
and like
wash
right from the
face and
jump.
everything.
So I can definitely see the scene, and I think I will say is like they for sure are not gonna go. I mean I think like how far they're deep in the dungeon now, they can go back up. Like I don't think there's even like a safe way for them, at least currently, for them to go up without hitting some type of something, especially with this episode because we're like kind of like fleshing out more of the antagonist.
Mm-hmm. I'm intrigued.
And like just the fact like the dungeon itself is an antagonist. It's kind of like how like Sao or even like some other stuff like that where like the
Mm.
environment itself is an attack where it's not gonna let you just do whatever you want to do.
Ah, okay.
And so yeah, I think they're gonna definitely stay in the dungeon. It's gonna get a lot darker for sure because like and even with what happened with the last episode with what's her name, Marcio doing the whole ancient magic thing that's like you're not supposed to be doing just so she could get Fallon back, and then they were like, oh we're gonna wash away make sure we have to wash away like this like little summoning circle, and they didn't wash that shit away, so that's gonna cook them for sure.
They be so
And I think
lazy, man.
and even for all their own personal things too as well, like maybe besides Chilchuck, because he probably wants to get out of here, but Laios like really does like the dungeon. He wants to like eat the food and stuff like that.
Yes.
Since she damn near lives down here, and Marcel, like we learn more about her like throughout throughout the episodes, or she like that, like even especially for the last episode with the ancient magic, is that she wants to learn more about the dungeon, like flesh out ancient magic. Hopefully they touch on that a little bit more, because I feel like that was kind of a little bit sped through, because we had no idea she had anything to do with ancient magic before that point.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully they flesh that out a little bit. I will say that's not like a gripe, because they just introduced it, so they have some time to definitely flesh it out a little bit more. But she just popped out and like, yeah, I can revive her. Like, bro, wait, like, where did you come from? So hopefully they flesh out a little bit more.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure they will.
Yeah, I mean, so far the
But yeah.
show valid, what was it called, thoughts, especially about dark magic segment. I was thinking the same. You
Yeah.
just remind me. But as I always like to mention, it's Chekhov's gun. Okay, if they mention it, they have to talk about it more or go more in depth. And so far the show has done this. Even with, as
Yeah.
you said, Laios' sword with the monster in it. It still comes back, okay? It's not just some one-off thing, like in one episode he gets it and then just everyone forgets about it, right? He just has the sword now. No, it keeps coming back somehow. And now everybody, by the way, also knows about the sword. So it would be interesting just to see where this, I mean, we can see all these details are still relevant, right? Like small parts still come back, and I would just assume that the mangaka knows what they're doing and won't just gloss over this big thing basically.
Absolutely.
I feel like everything was said as was said. Okay, if you're somehow still watching this without ever having watched the show, I'm sorry you were spoiled, but maybe you're still interested because half the show is like while we're recording this, okay, end of March, we're still only like halfway through, more or less. Check it out. If you don't want to check it out, I guess don't check it out. Okay.
No, please check it out. No, please. We got to get more seasons of
Okay,
stuff like
yeah.
this, bro.
Go and watch it, okay? By any means, okay? Doesn't
Bro,
need to
they're
be-
making Data Live season 5. Please watch
No,
this,
don't
man.
talk about it no data live, please. I cannot take it anymore. But this has been Open Window, Dungeon Meshi, a big recommendation. If a show is good enough to get a video on here, I mean, I can only recommend it, right? We don't talk about every
Yeah.
show that comes out each season, only like one or two select few. Usually just one specific show per season. So if this show gets picked by the like super podcast Open Window, you know it's good. Okay, everybody knows this podcast. We're a big name in the industry. Now I cannot even take myself seriously. But
Or get
nah,
outta
yeah, check it out. Open Window, Pan and Jazz, you know the deal. And see you on the next video. I don't even know what the next video might be. Maybe solo leveling. Who the fuck knows?
Yeah,
See
so
ya.
leveling have to.
Hell no.
Peace.
Peace.